La 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 la. Alright, what is this? They're so mad at Asmongold because he's right. Ooh, boy. Spicy video.
Basically, when are these people not mad?
Never. They're chronically online.
Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell.
Oh,
Merry
boy.
Christmas to all of you, firstly, and I hope you go into this Christmas period, these Christmas days, making good choices and good decisions.
No.
Okay, Simon, make some good choices. I really don't
I'm a VTuber. I don't do that.
recommend picking fights with your relatives over like politics, but
True.
you know, instead you can choose
don't
to
do
be
that.
joyful and harmonious. And if you decide not to be, I will come to your house and haunt you like a Christmas goblin of sorts. To the
How
rest
terrifying.
of you who don't celebrate
American
Christmas,
Australian.
happy end of December to you. Happy this week. I hope it's great. As for me, I will be over here channeling Morticia Adams because this is how I have chosen to look today. There's nothing you can do about it. Also, children,
makeup's
if you want to
nice.
make my Christmas extra special, go and check out my tea company, which is linked in the description.
I actually bought the tea for my mom. Yeah, bought tea for my mom, and she said it was really good.
Box. If you haven't already, I have many yummy
Yeah, she
flavors.
really
And
liked it.
just an FYI,
Not
the winter
sponsored.
flavors
Not
that
sponsored.
I have
Bought it
that
with
you
my
guys
own
seem
money.
to really enjoy. They are getting quite low, and these are seasonal, so they are only around for a limited time and won't be back until next year.
I like
so
tea.
I'm very low on my peppermint white chocolate. So if you like
did
that
you
one,
like it?
Be
I didn't
sure to
have
grab
it.
a box.
She had it
Now,
after Christmas.
It has not escaped
Anyway.
my attention that apparently everybody is burned out on political talking at the moment, and
For sure.
for some reason that means that you all want to be entertained with people and their drama. And so today's video is no exception. I'm just trying to give you what you want, Simon, okay? Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. As most of you know, because it's been basically everywhere in the news, the topic of immigration is very hot right now.
Ooh.
Boiling hot. So hot it'll melt your face off.
As a child of immigrants, I have a lot to say.
And so as a result of this, lately, we've had a very, very big streamer talking about this topic and as a result getting screamed at by progressives. I know. Water is wet. But the reason I find this reasonably interesting is because this person didn't say anything that was particularly extreme or crazy. In fact, the statements being made that people were reacting to are not only milquetoast, but I also just think generally common sense. So in a recent live stream, creator Asmongold said that people who don't make an effort to speak English should leave the United States.
No, it's not. It's not. It's weird. The Declaration of Independence is written in English. The State of the Union every year is spoken in English. Every law is in English. Every
right.
stop sign is English.
Yeah.
Everything everywhere is English. It's an English country. It's an English-speaking country. If you don't speak English, you need to go.
I don't know
Oh boy, this is gonna be a spicy one. I knew when I saw Sydney making a video about Asmon, it was gonna get political. I could already feel more people blocking me on Twitter after this. It's like seeping into my being. I suppose let's get this out of the way early. This is very similar to the racism topic I talked about a while ago. Basically, what I said was, I don't care what skin color you are, black, brown, white, whatever. What I care about is assimilation. In other words, do you want to be an American? Do you? This topic is like basically the same thing, but instead of skin color, it's now about language. I don't care where you're from or what language you speak, so long as your intention is to assimilate to the American culture, American values, and of course, the American English language. I know, mind-blowing. And refusing to learn to speak English is, in my opinion, basically spitting in the face of the people that live here. In other words, I think it is a very obvious declaration of your intentions. Do you love America? Are you a patriot? Do you really, really want to be an American? If so, you would obviously, most obviously, want to learn to speak English. That is the bare minimum in order to speak to your fellow Americans, to get a job, to contribute to the economy, to vote, pay taxes, and of course, not to be a burden on the same system and the taxpayers. That's the whole freaking point. And by the way, I support this for every country. If you're immigrating to England, you should speak English. If you're immigrating to France, you should speak French. If you immigrate to Hungary, you should speak Hungarian. Obviously, duh. It's basic respect for the country and its people. Is that not what the world is about? And to clarify, because I know this is the argument that retards are gonna always gonna bring up, with this whataboutism, this does not apply to people who are actively trying to speak English. Obviously, if you're trying to learn, you want to learn. Maybe your English is really bad and you're trying and it's kind of embarrassing, but you're still practicing every day. I'm not talking about you. I'm not. I speak 2 languages. I get it. The obvious implication is towards people that come to America that have zero intention of learning English. They've been here for 20 fucking years and they can't speak it. They have no interest in assimilating. They just want to come here and reap the social benefits and be a net negative on the system and not contribute at all. And likely endanger everyone else by trying to work or drive despite not being able to understand what's being said to them and read road signs. This isn't really controversial. At a bare minimum, it's a safety thing. Again, my parents are immigrants. They speak fluent English. Their English is really good. They've been living here for a long time. They lived in New Zealand too, where they speak English. It's not a fucking offensive thing to say.
But I really just didn't have a fun time at all trying to find the actual full long, live streams that these videos have come from. And I don't know, maybe it's because I have Christmas brain. But Lord knows I'm struggling. I just want to have a really long nap. Also, for those of you who don't know, Asmongold, whose name is Zach, and I'll probably just call him his actual name for this video, given I sometimes feel a bit weird using people's screen names. Anyway, Zach has a massive audience across all platforms, including here on YouTube. And like many people in the modern media space, he actually started off in the gaming world, making World of Warcraft content.
Oh, by the way, thank you for the 50 gifted. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I missed it. I'm sorry. I didn't see it. I was ranting. Yeah, sorry. Thank you so much. Yeah, he used to basically only play WoW.
And massively gained in popularity with his commentary on all sorts of issues. Sometime around 2022, he became more outward in expressing his political opinions, and by 2024, he had shifted very much into culture war topics, was very critical of Biden and Harris, and has been critical of immigration. It's also worth noting that a lot of Zach's delivery is just very blunt. There's, it's like a no-holds-barred type situation, and that's probably in part what leads to a lot of the criticism that gets thrown his way. In addition to people hating the contents of what he's saying as well. For example, Zach copped a ban from the platform Twitch after he made comments about Palestinians, saying they had an inferior culture that is antithetical to Western values. He later qualified this position, saying, "Of course no one deserves to have their life destroyed, even if they do things or have views I find regressive." In early 2025, people got really mad at Zach again because he said he wanted to go to the border and watch deportations dressed as Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. It definitely took me a second to understand this. But this is a
gotta catch 'em all. Yeah.
Gotta catch 'em all reference, isn't it?
Yeah, that's millennial
what this
reference.
Full disclosure, as some of you know, I don't really watch live streams. I have a really hard time paying attention for that long, but I
That's
do
fair.
watch, like The Lore Lodge and Darkness Prevails, and I've been listening to a lot of Let's Read recently, which is probably why I'm having weird dreams about Wendigos. So, obviously,
Wendigo.
I haven't seen everything that he's had to say ever, but I do see a lot of his clips on Twitter a lot of the time from people, clipping them and sharing them.
Just up to the
And once
Asmongold
again,
Clips
I
channel,
think that
that's
a lot
great.
of his delivery just kind of comes without any preamble, no caveats, just straight to what he thinks. And I think it's funny because a lot of what comes across my feed is stuff that I do inherently at its core agree with, but once again, I do see why this delivery rubs people the wrong way. And not
Because he's learned over the years that his delivery doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. The people that don't like him, what he's saying, because he's so popular, he's saying those things are, and they're still gonna be mad at him and slander him regardless of how he says it. So what he's done, this is just my guess, I'm gonna be parasocial for a second here and trying to get it into the mind of the Roach King, right? I think he's probably decided that having a very curt and blunt delivery of his points with like zero caveats and elaboration is actually like better for him, because he knows that the people that hate him no matter what are going to be mad at him regardless. So why not just make the delivery sound really mean so that he gets clipped and then people post the clip on social media, then he creates outrage and then it funnels traffic to his stream where people watch him and then decide if he's right or not. He turns hate into like advertisements for himself. I think it's a great idea. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Not that I want to get into this because
This is my
it's so
opinion.
obviously not the point of this video, but I do think
calls
that
himself
this
an
kind of
asshole.
delivery
Yeah,
style
for sure.
speaks a
100
little bit
times
to the
a
fact,
day.
not even a little bit, a lot to the fact that people are done trying to be nice all the time. I think they're done
That's
trying
fair.
to soft foot around issues and
feel
are
like
now
I'm a
instead
pussy.
just going for the jugular on most issues. And I actually think we're going to see a lot more of this as the whole, let's protect other people's feelings thing and, let's not offend anybody just falls away
The
and
woman
dies.
moment.
Zach has also reacted to a couple of my videos on his channel and sent a bunch of viewers my way, which is incredibly cool.
Yippee!
And he's also been super charitable to me too when he's watched my content, which I really appreciate. So I want to be charitable in return because I think that's fair, especially given that, like I said, with this specific topic, with his comments here, I do agree with him. And I want to make note of the fact that I know he's a polarizing figure and that some of you watching are probably like, he's not my favorite person, Sid, and that's okay.
Sure, that's
you
fair.
don't have to like everybody.
It's all
So
right.
with that said, let's focus on these recent immigration comments. That's why we're here. But we are also here to do one other thing, and now that we are snug as a bug in a rug on the Hell Gondola, we're going to hear from today's sponsor, Fume, because
I thought it was gonna
stopping
be
your bad
ExpressVPN,
habit is
I'm not
very
gonna lie.
importante.
Ad!
It's almost the new year. And you know what we do in the new year? We break
I don't
bad
smoke.
habits. I will be giving up sugar. And
No, that's tough. That's tough. Giving up sugar.
you will be giving up smoking. Or vaping.
I don't
because
smoke
we are
or
not bringing
vape.
that energy into 2026. And right now, you might be thinking, that
Sugars and everything, it's
breaking up
tough,
with my
it's
cancer
tough.
sticks is so hard. And ordinarily, it would be. But now you have Fume.
Not the
This
Tim Tams.
nifty
Low key Tim Tams are so fucking good. Oh my god.
flavored air device
Tams
will
are
not
amazing.
slowly
One of the
turn your
best
lungs
biscuits
into a war
ever.
zone because it uses
Top
flavored
3.
air. Your Fume has no heating components, no toxic chemicals, no batteries. It instead uses these yummy little flavored cores which you just pop into your Fume and go. It couldn't be more simple. Now, you might be thinking, but Sydney, I can't kick my
Tasty.
bad habit. But yes,
Wow.
Simon, yes, you can. I believe
I can't
in you,
relate.
and Fume believes in you. They believe in you so much, actually, that they exist in the first place. Your days of mouth lines, being a stink bug, and having to go outside in the cold are over. And Fume's ever-expanding line of both flavors and products is going to keep you going for a long, long time. So don't lose hope. So if you are ready to new year, new me, now is the time to do it with Fume. So click the link in the description, scan the QR code on screen, or go to tryfume.com/Sydney. And make sure that you use code Sydney to get your free Fume topper when you order a journey pack.
Ooh.
I'm pointing to the information. You go to
Alana,
the
you
website.
stink
Go do it
bug.
now.
Whoa.
So the clip that I showed you earlier popped off on Twitter and sent a bunch of people into a tailspin. In fact, the person who initially posted it and put their watermark on his video, which everyone
You're such a fucking loser for that, by the way. Like, it's just a clip. It's not like you edited it or anything.
know how much I hate that. Don't
I hate that
watermark other
shit.
people's content.
I get it if you edited it and it's like a transformative thing. Like, I get it, but like, this is a fucking clip. You're such a clown.
It's really weird. Anyway, this person accused Zach of crashing out and going on a weird rant.
Yikes!
During the same live stream, Zach said that there are cultural factors that make some cultures easier to integrate into US society than others. He listed several of these things before saying that not being able to speak English should completely limit a person's ability to immigrate here.
Let's be real. There are massive cultural barriers that make some cultures easier to integrate into others. Obviously, right? There's religion, morality, like just different cultural norms, the way they treat women, the way they treat gay people, how they think about like, I don't know, stealing, and like a handful of other things. Like this is a fact, like their language, right? Like it's, I would absolutely, like in my opinion, like if somebody is not an English speaker, the chances of them emigrating, in my opinion, should go from like, you know, I'd say like whatever the percentage is down to like 0, okay? Like we don't need to be bringing people into the country that can't even speak English. Like, what are we talking about, right?
And
again, this is another reason that people get so bent out of shape about immigration, because these retarded Karens want to have their cake and eat it too. They always like bitch and cry and complain and maul about how being white makes you privileged, and that you're inherently awful for having like white skin, and that you have white guilt, and you know all this shit, and want everyone else to have it too, right? And then they advocate to bring in literally fucking anybody who's non-white to satisfy this suicidal empathy, as we've discussed many times on this stream. So then they import these people that have no intention of assimilating, and oftentimes come from cultures that treat women as second-class citizens. I've made jokes so many times on stream about in certain countries you can't even drive as a woman. And then, of course, those women who advocated to bring them here get treated like second-class citizens, so they start feeling unsafe to be out in public. But of course, they won't say that. Instead, they'll say it's like men's fault or what the fuck ever. Or it's the government's fault. And this blanket statement, the entirety of like the men in the United States, instead of pointing out the real problem. And the worst part, you want to know the worst part, chat? Let's get real spicy today. Let's piss some people off. The worst part is that these Karens are actively making it worse for good-intentioned immigrants who want to come here by blindly accepting any and all people with zero regard for their background or their intentions when they come here. You will inevitably import a ton of people that act in bad faith, they commit crimes, they don't learn to speak English, and they hurt people. Which will then shift this public opinion to be more negative towards immigration, which then inadvertently hurts the well-intentioned, the good-intentioned immigrants who want to come here because they love America. It's so stupid and reductive. And again, I have to say this for the millionth time. My parents immigrated here. I immigrated here. Like, what are we talking about? We immigrated to New Zealand as well, and they learned to speak English well. They went to school there. They paid their taxes. They never committed crimes. It should be the same way across every country, no matter what.
This is something that I just agree with. I think this is correct. The only thing that I would caveat here, and I don't know in the grand scheme of this live stream, I don't know if Zach did caveat this himself or if he thinks this himself, but I think that when you move to a new country, it's not so much that the expectation is that you are fluent right out of the gate, because really one of the best ways to learn a language is to be completely immersed in it and, you know, people often say that if you want to learn, go live in the country where that language is spoken. So I think that's probably the only area where I would say having a working knowledge of a language is really useful, but I don't necessarily expect people to be fluent. I think that learning...
No, when my parents lived in Switzerland and I lived in Switzerland, they were not fluent in German. They had to learn it, and everybody expected them to learn it. They weren't amazing. I was a translator for them because I learned the language faster than they did because I was a child. I translated for them actively. They put in the effort. They actually speak a little bit of German to this day, even though it's been years. It should be expected to at least to try and understand the language.
As you go, having the intention
fluency
of learning
is not necessary.
is really important. I just don't know why this is a controversial position. I think perhaps...
I don't either. That shit blows my mind.
The reason why people don't like to hear this is because of, I guess, this more liberal take that you can take any person, you know, in any culture and mash all these things together and have people successfully coexist without putting any meaningful effort into the things that actually foster social cohesion. And I would argue that language is one of the most important factors in that. And like I said, I don't know why.
That's why it irritates me so much, because my parents legally immigrated here. And it's like, it seems so unfair that people can just come here and be illegal immigrants and get paid taxpayer money and all this other shit for like, my parents put in the effort. They had to file documents for months, if not a year. They had to prove that they were going to be upstanding citizens. They were not criminals. It's unfair. I'm sorry. I think it's dumb. I hate when people make this argument to me as a person who immigrated here illegally. Sorry.
This is controversial. I don't know why this element is being disputed. Obviously, the immigration topic is big and multifaceted, and there's lots of components to it, lots of negative components to it, but I would argue that it's, I guess, reasonably logical and normal to have people speaking the same language in the place that everybody lives. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, as you can expect, this last clip of Zach that I just showed you led to a lot of criticism and a lot of accusations of being all of the ists and isms. Besides the person who said that he's crashing out, I did see a lot of other people on
There is no greater sign of a weak human being than hating on others for simply being different in the most innocuous ways. Oh my god. Oh, I guess all the people in Switzerland were being fucking racist to my family for expecting them to speak German when they walked up to them. I can't, man. It's all so tiring. Like, how stupid are you?
To say that he's just hateful and racist and that he's, you know, not a really good person. He's got weak humanity because he's hating on others for innocuous differences. And yet, amid the outrage, Zach doubled down, calling his view common sense and suggesting that no country should admit people who cannot communicate in its primary language. Interestingly, though, Zachy boy over here has been discussing this topic for a little while now. In another video from, I'm going to assume, probably back in March. Like I said, I've had a really weird hard time finding the origins of these because going through live streams.
He streams a lot, to be fair.
It's hard. Anyway, I'm assuming this is from when Donald Trump signed his executive order in March to make English the primary language of the United States. I could be wrong, but anyway, immigration is being discussed here. And Zach again
was that a thing? I didn't even know that.
If you live in America, you need to speak English, explaining that other countries expect immigrants to speak their languages. Why should we be any different?
Listen, if you're living in America, you need to speak English, okay? Like, it's pretty simple. Like, if you're going and trying to come up, well, what about in this one situation? Yeah, what a great idea. Let's create a part of the country that is totally disharmonic and distorted from everything else. That's what a brilliant idea. That let's add an area.
Again, it's an emotional argument. The people that advocate for this are primarily retards that have zero, and I do mean zero, critical thinking skills and are completely and utterly slaves to their emotions. Zach won't say this, but I will, because I'm a woman, okay? It's emotional female bullshit. If all of your arguments are like, well, what about this tiny circumstantial example, or this is just super hateful and bigoted, or my friend isn't from America and she can't speak English fluently yet. Again, it's all emotional. You're a retard. You needed to be treated as such. None of these arguments are arguments. They're emotional verbal diarrhea. The only people being discussed are people who want to be full-fledged American citizens, like with green cards and shit, or like whatever. If you want to be an American citizen, how you got here, illegal or legal, like, and what your intentions are, will you assimilate or not, should be a huge factor in whether or not you're accepted. You guys know the process of becoming a citizen is like 5 years. You start with a green card. You get a green card or a visa, and then you move on to a green card. You have to wait 3 or 5 years. I forget what the number is. And then you become a permanent resident, which doesn't mean you're a citizen yet. And then you wait a few more years. Then you become a citizen. If you can't speak English by then, that's a you problem. Yo, said, thank you for the 50 gifted. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Again, it's not a big deal. I think it's a skill issue. If you can't speak a language, even a modicum, like you have to communicate, like say hello, how are you? Can I help you today? And like understand like basics in a language. Like 5 years, I don't know, man. That's a you problem. That's a problem. Period.
The country that really is people are speaking a different language. No, it's ridiculous. Who moves to China and doesn't speak Chinese or Cantonese, right? I mean, like, what are we talking about?
Chinese or Cantonese? It's Mandarin and Cantonese, you ding dong. Chinese or Cantonese?
You move to Japan, you don't speak Japanese. You move to
not knowing Japanese when you go to Japan is actually really difficult. Like, a lot of people there just straight up don't speak English. A lot of people do. The younger people actually speak a lot of English, but generally speaking, most people speak Japanese.
The Middle East, you don't speak Arabic or Farsi. I feel like you've got a bit of a Mandarin. It's Mandarin. That's the other one I was thinking. Like,
good.
Mandarin or Cantonese. And what are we talking about here? Yeah, you move to Brazil, you speak Portuguese.
That's okay, at least he didn't say Brazilian. Oh my god.
It is. Like, this is the simplest, most obvious
speak Brazilian.
This is so funny to me because just this morning I read an article about how Japan is strengthening its citizenship requirements. It's
good.
Extending the time that you have to live in the country before you can apply for
Japanese culture is a lot more homogenous, and there's a lot more cultural expectation as well than even Americans or like any other country. I think I think there's a lot of countries that are way more strict. In Switzerland, I remember it takes like 6 years to even come into like the quote-unquote green card. Yeah, in Switzerland, I think it takes like 4 to 6 years to even get the first stage of getting a green card.
Citizenship, but one of the bigger factors is that you have to be, I don't know if it's like fluent or just very proficient, but you at least have to be extremely proficient in Japanese in order to get your citizenship. I can say many things in Japanese, but obviously the most important is Hotu dagu tabimashita. I'm an expert, man.
True.
Get out of here.
Arigato gozaimasu
is coming from leftist circles. If I'm being totally honest, I do find it quite surprising because I think that the position that Zach is expressing is quite a logical one. I don't think that his view is rooted in being prejudiced or partisan or even anti-immigrant. I think it comes from a place of actual practicality.
It's because they hate him. I don't know how educated Sydney is on Mr. Asman. But the reason is because they hate him. They disagree with the things he says, and then he takes their disagreements and farms them for even more money with videos on YouTube that get millions of views. It is a seething, malding, gooning, and hating demographic that exists primarily on Reddit and Blue Sky and like half of Twitter. They're furious that he says what normal people are thinking. And in response, they always resort to ad hominem. Like, he's unwashed, he's filthy, he lives with his mother, you know, when she was alive. That he killed his mom, and that he can't drink water, that his teeth are gone, that he wipes his blood on the walls, that he's ugly, and that he's bald. They are pathetic people with, like, no actual arguments, so they resort to attacking his, like, physical appearance or the way he lives that doesn't actually affect them. Because they have no argument, because they know that their ideals and what they believe in can only exist inside of this, like, protected space where anyone that disagrees with them gets banned or silenced. Sorry, that's just the truth.
That
but he's stinky, so he's not right.
Statistics and historical precedent and
Danish,
public opinion. We know that people who speak a country's
Thank you so much for the 50 gift, that I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Native tongue have an easier time finding work and fitting in and so on. This is statistically backed up. We know that native-born citizens want to hear their native language spoken out in the world. And we
even from a psychological perspective, people like on down to the fundamental, like, monkey brain level that we live as people, as human beings. You hear something that you can understand and it makes you more comfortable. If you don't understand what someone is saying, it makes you, I don't think it strikes fear, but it makes you uncomfortable because you don't know what they're saying. They could be, like, plotting to hurt you, or they could be saying something mean to you because you don't know what they're saying.
That currently there is very little effort to hold anyone, well, migrants really, to a standard of English speaking.
Yeah, you're paranoid or whatever.
None of this matters because all the angry progressives want to focus on is the fact that it excludes people or something. I actually have no idea what they're trying to logically argue about this one. I think in the minds of most normal functioning people, requiring that immigrants learn English and be fluent.
It was expected of my parents when they emigrated to New Zealand. The first thing they did was ask them, how fluent is your English and what kind of degrees did you get in the USSR before they emigrated? They take that into consideration. They want to see if you're going to contribute to the country and not just be a burden on taxpayer dollars. Anecdotal story. My parents came with $200 to their name to New Zealand back fucking in the 90s, right? Like, that's just how it was. And they had to take welfare because they literally couldn't get a job in the first, like, 6 months because they just moved. The USSR was still a thing when they moved? No, it was after the fall. But, like, whatever, that's not the point. They moved there after the collapse, and it was like they came in and they had to be a quote-unquote a burden on the taxpayer because they couldn't get a job. They spoke English well enough. They were taught in university how to speak English, and they were a good candidate for being an immigrant. $200 in 90s is money. They were rich. Chat, $200 when you have no job is not a lot of money, but the point is, it's thank you for the 26 subs. I really appreciate it. I'm losing the point, but anyway, you have to be a contributing factor to a country. You can't just be a forever burden on the taxpayer for, like, years and years on end, okay? It can't function like that. You have to contribute.
In English is a good thing because it fosters social cohesion, it gives them job opportunities, it leads to mutual respect and being able to read road signs. But like I mentioned, this is a topic that Zach has talked about a lot, and so this is way not the first time that he's come under fire for making comments about immigration. At the end of October 2025, people were once again kicking off at him after he reacted to a clip of Hassan, the dog abuser piker. In this video, Hassan said that he noticed more white people in Japan and has expressed how much he doesn't like it. Zach responded to this saying, if you're a foreigner in Japan because you're white, then what does that make every other person that's not white in America?
Since the last time I've been in Japan, this is my third time now.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is so retarded.
I've seen a lot more white people out here.
Oh, for sure.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
And I don't like it.
If you are a foreigner in Japan because you're white, then what does that make every other person that's not white in America? That's not the kind of identity politics you really want to play. That's a bad way of doing things. The reason why there's a big difference between people like abroad in Japan and PewDiePie versus somebody like Johnny Somali, the big difference is that people like abroad in Japan, or some of the people that come here to the United States, actually the majority of legal immigrants that come here to the United States, come here and they assimilate into the culture and they don't cause any problems. They're trying to just simply exist inside of a different culture.
When someone in the live stream chat responded and said that America is not white people's land, Zach responded and said, actually, it is.
And so that's it. America is not white people's land. That's Europe. Well, it is. It is. It absolutely is white people's land. We fought a war over it.
Once again, the response...
People are gonna say it's because America is a land of immigrants but all of those initial immigrants were white people. If I Google what was the racial demographic in America in like the 1920s to the 1940s right now, it's gonna tell me probably 90% or more white. Trying to argue that America wasn't an overwhelmingly majority white country is stupid. It's delusional. Now, does that mean that people who aren't white aren't American? No, of course not. The point is that it's hypocritical to say that you're annoyed or disgusted by white people immigrating to non-white countries, but it's based and morally correct for non-white people to immigrate to white country. He's being a hypocrite. If you disagree with him on this point, he'll just call you racist. They'll always intentionally misunderstand what he's saying so they can call him a racist.
So this was what you expected, with people calling him racist and tone deaf. This is so interesting to me because right now on Twitter, there's this really big debate, if you will, happening, where people are kind of discussing what it means to be an American and sort of where the heritage American fits into this. And these are people who can trace their lineage all the way back to, I guess, the founding of the country, and sort of how those people relate to America versus how new Americans relate to America. And not that I want to get into this at all in this video because it is quite muddy. I think if we're being intellectually honest, if we're, not being butt heads about this, we can all admit that the American colonies, which have become America as we know it today, were founded by European settlers, many of whom came from England and reflected the sun like this. See, this is why it's muddy, because now I have to caveat. This is not me saying that there weren't other people around during the founding of the America that we know today, obviously.
Yeah.
About 10 years after settlers came to the East Coast, then there were slave ships arriving, and so there are plenty of Black Americans who can trace their ancestry back to these early slaves.
Yeah.
Then you also had sort of all of the interactions with natives going on at the time, and the Hispanics down south, and you also had the Chinese come over in the 1800s for the gold rush. I mean, there's so much history here that just, I don't know, I don't want to get into it, but there you go. Everyone's acknowledged. Every frickin' race is acknowledged. Now no one can scream at me in the comments because I will scream back. Anyway, it's still an objectively true statement to say that America as we know it today, the American colonies, were founded by European settlers. So yell at me if you want to, historian nerds. I don't care. And whether or not you personally think that this position is right or wrong or correct or incorrect, it sort of makes sense why Zach would feel this way about America's founding and its founding peoples, given he expressed in another live stream that his family lineage in America goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War.
I have to see, like, from my perspective as an American and a Native American, right? Like, not capitalized, but just lowercase. A Native American, right? My family's been here for ever since before the Revolutionary War, right? We fought in the Revolutionary War.
There's people out there who have lineages tracing back to the Mayflower, too.
They did, not me, right?
The first ship that landed.
But anyway, So my
That's
point
fair.
is that, like, very obviously, I want to do the best, and I want to work in the best interest of the people that are in my country first. And I do want to put people in my country first. And I want to make decisions from a government level that puts people in my country first. It's that simple.
Even this, which I think...
Yeah, in my country first. You notice he didn't say white people first. He just said his country first. In other words, the current people in the country, which is like, what, 60% white? I think everyone is under the same opinion that if your family has been here for a while, regardless of skin color, you're American. If you've come from somewhere else in the last 10 years, but you've completely assimilated, you love the country, you speak the language, you speak English, and most importantly, you see yourself as an American, you're an American. Doesn't matter if you're American from China, American from Iran, American from Africa, American from, I don't know, fucking the Netherlands. It doesn't matter. You're an American. You have a lineage. Yeah, obviously. It's just respect. That's all. Nobody from any country wants foreigners to come into it and not learn their language, not adopt their customs, and in general disrespect the people and the way of life of the country, while also absorbing all of these social benefits. It has nothing to do with skin color and everything to do with respect.
Is a very fair statement, wanting to put first one's own countrymen, wanting to prioritize the interests of Americans, resulted in him being attacked from all angles. And all of this has fed into this idea that he's just some far-right Nazi zealot. If you go on Reddit, why you would do that, I don't know, you'll see that people are saying that he engages in hate bait, that he does so in order to appeal to this far-right anti-immigrant audience that he's cultivated. But really, I think that, you know, a lot of people these days hold these viewpoints, and I know that they're probably considered rather extreme, but I do think that a lot of this is becoming normalized as...
Bro, having his stance on immigration as an immigrant, oh my god, that's like a far-right thing. That's crazy. I bet you like at least 40% of my fucking chat probably immigrated from a different country to America. Reddit? Yeah, I mean, socialist gaming. What are we expecting? Like, classic Reddit moment.
Multiculturalism comes under fire more and more and more. This probably will shock none of you, but I don't agree with Zach on everything that he has to say and everything that he thinks and some of the things that I've seen floating around on the internet. I don't agree.
No, neither do I. You're not going to agree on every single thing with your favorite streamer. People disagree with me all the time. And I'm sure there's probably some of you in the audience right now that don't agree with me. That's fine. That's expected. We have different opinions. I know. Shocker. It's just... Thinking that you and your Oshi or your favorite streamer need to have the exact same opinion and stance on every single topic is peak parasocial retard behavior. You can watch someone and then switch off or like be like, I disagree with that, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, this doesn't mean that she's any less of a retard, or maybe she's more of a retard and I want to stop watching her. It doesn't fucking matter. Oh my god, we're being parasocial.
You know what? That's okay, because that's normal. But I do very much agree with him when it comes to language around this immigration debate. I personally believe that language is one of the most important things that we have as a collective. It's how
a human collective. Like, it is one of the most earliest things that existed.
Communicate. It's such a big indicator of assimilation.
People
and
traveling
people
and
love
speaking
to talk
different
about
languages.
America as this melting pot. Okay. Well, then melt. Prior to Trump's executive order in March making English the official language of this country...
I did not even know this was a thing. I thought it was already I thought it already was. What do you mean?
People loved to make the argument here that because America does not have an official language, then it is okay that people don't bother to learn English, which I have always thought is an insane position, but whatever. But English is clearly the language of America. Zach pointed this out himself.
Yeah, the Constitution was written in English.
is the language of the founding documents, the language that law and business and commerce are conducted in. It is the common tongue that we speak amongst ourselves in everyday life to be understood and to communicate. English is the language of this country. Does this mean that you cannot be bilingual? No, that is insane.
I hate this like stupid like whataboutism. Does that mean I can't speak my home language in this country? Ugh, I hate it. It's such a low IQ like whataboutism.
Lots of people speak
Nobody's
different languages
stopping
with their
you,
friends
man.
or with their parents or with their
More people should be bilingual. Yeah, true. Actually,
grandma. But the important thing is that when they go out
think
into the
being
world, there is
bilingual
a
is awesome.
shared language, and that is English, and that's what we all speak to each other. It is interesting because when I started working on this video, I was reminded about the fact that this is legitimately not like a radical or extreme position, because wanting to have a common language has been so normal for so long up until very recently. Outside of a shared language in the country context, I'm sure that a bunch of you are familiar with the fact that French, for example, used to be the lingua franca.
what does English being the official language even do? I can tell you from an anecdotal experience, when I lived in New Zealand, I would go to a market and nothing would be labeled in English and everything would be labeled in the language that they were selling the products on. English, not English, Chinese, Hindi. I think there was one store that was completely in Arabic and I couldn't understand, or like I'd have to ask the cashier and be like, hey, can you help me find this? Because I don't know which one it is. And I think that's rude. Like, at least have, like, English underneath it or something. That's the least you could do. Like, I'm trying to, like, enjoy this store, and I can't even, like, understand what I'm fucking looking at. Are we joking here? Are we kidding? Are we trolling?
Or the auxiliary language, used between people in European countries who didn't speak a common tongue. So the common tongue was French. They would communicate and do business in French. Now that language is English because it's become the global language and the language that everybody uses when nobody speaks the same language. I hope this makes sense. My confusing and probably ineffective explanation here aside, my point is that whether it's English or French or some other language, there is a need for a shared common language. There's a shared common tongue for people to communicate, and this transcends individual countries. Back in early...
Not just to communicate, but also to, like, commute and travel safely. I don't want to get political because, again, I'm an anime girl and I like being one. I don't want to be a political commentator, but I'm sure a lot of you have seen in the news of like foreign people becoming truck drivers who can't speak or read English, and then they cause horrific car crashes that cause multiple casualties because they can't read road signs. Genuinely, if you're a left-leaning liberal with pronouns in their Twitter bio, Reddit karma addicts that hates white people, you should support people speaking English, because when shit like that happens, it turns public sentiment against immigrants and non-English speaking people. It makes people hate them and become horrible and like treat them worse. You should want everyone in the country to speak English so that doesn't happen and people don't become more fucking racist. It's common sense, like, really.
2025, the New York Times ran a piece that basically suggested that Trump's executive order about the English language being the primary language of the United States is somehow unfair or racist. The piece points out that this idea was actually expressed by the founding fathers and other American leaders over the years. You guys are gonna love this one. Benjamin Franklin worried that there was too much German being spoken in the United States in the early days. Theodore Roosevelt expressed in 1919 that, quote, "We have room for but one language in this country, and that is the English language. For we intend to see that the crucible turns our people out as Americans of American nationality, and not as dwellers in a polyglot boarding house."
My God!
Tell us how you really feel there, Teddy boy. Tell us. Totally
Teddy
bizarrely,
Roosevelt
this writer
said
argues
that.
that because another language is harder to acquire as someone ages, it's unreasonable to expect older migrants to learn, which is crazy, in part because of the aforementioned language immersion thing that I mentioned earlier. So much of this article is incredibly annoying, but
Oh my god, as someone who I spoke German, I speak English, I speak Russian, I speak a little bit of Ukrainian, I speak a little bit of Spanish. Like it's just so mind-blowing to me that people can say stuff like that and be like, it's actually like really difficult to learn when you're really old. It's like it's really not though. Like even the most basic things. The most difficult and annoying part of people not willing to learn a language is that they don't want to like immerse themselves and even watch like a TV show in the language that they don't speak. You have to go out there and consume the media and like talk to people.
you guys are gonna especially love this part. Imagine a native Mandarin speaker who is new or newish to English. Let's say that she can get by just fine while navigating a menu or engaging in brief exchanges. Grand. But if she were being admitted to a hospital, taking a citizenship test, voting, or doing anything else involving detail or urgency, she would want to be able to use, hear, or read her native language. To deny her that is pointless and unfeeling. Why is a person who cannot speak English voting?
I wouldn't want to go to Japan and be able to vote if I can't speak Japanese or read it. Huh? Or any other country for that matter.
Or taking a
citizenship test and voting? Okay, maybe at the hospital, like I think that's fine. Like that's why they have interpreters. I think that's fair. You never know what someone's going through. Like they got into an accident and they've only been here for 3 months. I understand that, but holy shit.
Citizenship test. I'm actually quite certain that you need to be proficient in English to do a citizenship test in the first place. So, who are you letting write for you these days, New York Times? What is happening here? Anyway, without going on about this for another million years, I don't think that it's racist or intolerant or xenophobic or whatever to ask that someone moving to a country learns to speak the native language of that country. And this, for me, also goes for English speakers. I think it's pretty bloody rude to go somewhere and to not make the effort to learn the language of the place that you have moved to. I think it's actually quite ignorant and I think it's quite disrespectful. And you know, truthfully, I am really glad to see someone like Zach who's got such a massive...
My parents actually became really good at reading German. Their speaking was quite bad, but people could still understand what they were trying to say, and they could understand people talking in certain contexts. And they only lived there for like, what? 5 years? Like by the end of it, they said they were kind of bummed out. This is actually really funny. My dad, when we left Switzerland, we moved back, they were laughing and saying like, God, we just became fluent in German more or less. Like they were like advanced intermediate, like they were pretty good at German at that point. They were like, man, now we gotta move back and speak English and then we're never gonna use German again. Fuck! Like they put on all this effort and now they don't even speak the language.
Audience and such a big reach, and people hate watch him too, which means that more of his ideas get out there. I'm glad to see him expressing these viewpoints and pulling them back into the limelight, because I think some of these pretty common sense components of the immigration debate get away from us because we fixate so much on the more extreme components. In the US context, and really in the context of any other country, asking someone to learn the language, and in this case English, asking for English proficiency, is a pragmatic stance. And I think the left's current romanticization, is that a word? Romanticization? It doesn't sound like one. We're going to go with romanticizing. Their current romanticizing of immigration without assimilation is just so unhelpful, even for immigrants themselves. And I think really what it will lead to is this specific issue becoming more and more radicalized until that is sort of the prevailing stance. I think that more and more people will get radicalized on this, and I don't think that will achieve the ends that the left is.
I just think it's unfair that my family and I had to learn English. I remember when we moved from Switzerland back to New Zealand, my mom, in preparation, because we obviously had time to go back, right? My parents were like, okay, Alana, you gotta start learning English again. And I'm like, oh, okay. And my mom's an English teacher, and we would sit down every night and practice English. Because it was in preparation to going back, because I wouldn't have to, like, speak German anymore, obviously. It's, like, expected.
Hoping for. In the end, asking that people speak a shared language is a logical step towards a functioning society, and the fact that we're at the point where this is apparently a racist position is kind of crazy. But like I said, I am always glad to see really big voices in the cultural space talking about these things and bringing them to the forefront and really demonstrating how important it is that we maintain a level of logic and intelligence when it comes to the immigration discussion. Now on that note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Fume using the link in the description. As you guys know, they've been a long-term friend of the channel, so if this is something that you struggle with, absolutely check them out and see if they might be the solution for you. Now I open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? I got a lot of responses to the last video that I made talking about immigration, and a lot of people were on the same page with me. A lot of people.
I had to feel like I needed to throw in my 2 cents as a child of immigrants. I cannot stand the discourse of, like, even the most basic thing of respecting someone's culture and speaking the language so you can communicate with them clearly. I feel like that's such a no-brainer.
Obviously disagreed or had different takes
on it. It just irritates me so much.
This is kind of in the same vein. So where do you land on this? How do you feel about people not speaking the language of the country that you live in? Do you think it's disrespectful? Do you think it's crappy? Do you think that it's really not that important and people can get by like this? What do you think of Zach's comments and commentary? Do you agree with the fact that he is very blunt in his delivery, which can maybe be kind of off-putting for some people?
I don't really care. Personally, I never noticed it. I'm not gonna lie.
Bluntness is actually necessary and that we are so past the point of caring about offending people and their feelings. What do you think of this overall discussion about assimilation and immigration and people fitting in and people making the effort? Do you think that this is good? Is it bad? Is it necessary? And what do you generally make of this issue overall? As always, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I always like having you along for the full ride. If you are new here and you're not subscribed already and you would like to see more of me and more of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel, as well as leaving this video a like and a comment, because I do read the majority of them and I like hearing your feedback, even when you're yelling at me about history. As I always say, I hope you wonderful little chickadee people stay safe and well and make good choices. And once again, Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope it is wonderful and beautiful and Santa brings you lots of fun gifts. And I will see your wonderful little faces in the next video.
That was a good video. Got me yapping. Go check them out. Yippee. That was a good video. Clappies in the chat. Yeah, I don't know. I never understood that. I guess, like, it's... The one thing that really annoyed me when I was growing up as a kid is that when my parents were learning German, I would have to translate a lot of things and, like, translate documents for them when I was a child. And my brother had to do the same thing as well when I wasn't born yet, and he had to learn English, and my parents were not as good at English as he was, because he was younger and went to school, obviously. So a lot of immigrant children understand this plight of, like, having to translate important things for their parents. And I think you get to the point where, like, after 5 or, like, 6 years of doing that, there comes a point, it's like, are you actually putting in the effort of learning the language, or are you just gonna rely on me for the rest of your life? It's so annoying. Like, I understand doing it in the period of, like, where your parents are learning the language. And then there comes a point, it's like, hello? Like, can you, like, give me some and then, like, give back? Like, I can't do this forever. Like, I need my own life kind of shit. Yeah, they'd be like, shut up and translate. Yeah, I know.